Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down comedy movie moments that were left on the cutting room floor, but would have provided an extra few laughs. Some of these scenes might have been put back in for director's cuts or TV airings, but theatrical audiences missed out.
I have got to fart something fierce.
Number 10. Henchmen are people too. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. When a henchman bites the dust, we usually don't give it a second thought. If you think about it though, that henchman probably had a life outside of serving evil. Just look at Steve, the henchman that Austin Powers flattens with a steamroller. In a deleted scene, we would have learned that Steve left behind a loving wife and stepson.
My husband is a henchman in Dr. Evil's private army.
He's not the only one.
Your stepfather was run over by a steamroller.
John Smith, the henchman who had his head bitten off by a mutated sea bass, was about to be married.
Well, you know he works as a henchman for Dr. Evil.
Huh, you know, Smith's friend is a dead ringer for a young number 2. It also looks like Steve was reincarnated as the NATO soldier watching Jerry Springer and the Queen's Royal Guard. In any case, we want justice for Steve. Number 9. Barnard's grandson, Dumb and Dumber. Joe Baker almost had a slightly bigger role as Barnard, who oversees the Aspen Hotel where Harry and Lloyd stay. In one deleted scene, the guys would have given Barney a generous, but not too generous tip.
Oh! I seem to have picked up two.
This sort of bonding moment would have paid off with Barney taking pity on the guys when they lose their nest egg. He offers to let them stay if they're willing to help out around the hotel. Barnard suggests that they look after his visiting grandson. Unfortunately, this turns out to be Billy in 4C, who Lloyd duped into buying a dead parakeet.
You sold my dead bird to a blind kid? Lloyd, what are you... Petey didn't even have a head!
We already got 2 hilarious scenes involving Billy, and for those who abide by the rules of 3, this reveal would have been a welcome addition.
You can look after my grandson. He's out here on a visit. Poor little tyke suffered a traumatic experience. You probably read about it.
Hi, Grandpa!
Here he is now. Hi, Billy! Come over here! I want you to meet these 2 nice men.
Number 8. Amazing Larry Origins, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. The late Lou Cattell gave one of his most memorable performances as Amazing Larry, despite only appearing on screen for a few seconds and not even getting a line.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
In another movie, his presence might have seemed strange. In a film where everything is eccentric, Larry's random appearance feels oddly natural.
Meet Amazing Larry!
Hi, Amazing Larry.
How do you do?
A deleted scene would have provided some context as Pee-wee meets Larry for the first time at Mario's magic shop. In addition to performing a hair-raising trick, we're given insight into why Larry has a Technicolor mohawk later.
I just wish I could find a way to jazz it up a bit.
On one hand, Larry's brief scene in the finished movie would have lost some of its surrealness had this moment been included.
New hairstyle. An amazing idea. Thanks, Pee-wee. You amazed me.
As fans of this cult character though, we fully endorse releasing the Amazing Larry cut. Number 7. An Orderly Comeuppance, Happy Gilmore. Ben Stiller really needs to play more villains. We love to hate him in Happy Gilmore, where he played Hal L., the nursing home orderly who mistreats the elderly residents. The theatrical cut never resolves this storyline. In a deleted scene that was restored for the TV version, Hal finally gets a taste of his own medicine.
You know what? Grandma told me what you've been doing in here. And I gotta tell you, it got me really, really angry.
With Grandma Gilmore no longer staying at the home, she doesn't hesitate to tell Happy everything. Considering that Happy has lost his temper over much smaller offenses, it shouldn't come as a surprise that he chucks Hal off the balcony with the residents now liberated.
Oh my God, he's strong.
Hal apparently didn't learn his lesson, as he went on to torment more people in Hubie Halloween. He hasn't changed his mustache either.
Because I'm your new attendant. The name's Hal L. And you're in my world now.
Number 6. Song of Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein. Initially, it would have taken Dr. Frederick Frankenstein much longer to reach Transylvania. While not without its moments, we understand why Mel Brooks cut a 7-minute sequence where Victor Frankenstein's will is read.
That they may hear in my own voice.
However, we wish he had kept a subsequent scene where the estate's lawyer, played by Richard Hayden, convinces Frederick to visit his newly inherited property. During the conversation, Frederick is sidetracked by a man on the street playing a violin tune.
Curious melody. Haunting, isn't it?
Which would have foreshadowed a later scene.
It's in your blood. It's in the blood of all Frankenstein.
Frederick proceeds to calmly destroy the violin.
Nice little balance to it.
resuming the conversation as if nothing just happened. The lawyer can tell that Frederick is indeed a Frankenstein, even if he doesn't realize it yet. It's an understatement moment of madness that few could pull off like Gene Wilder. Number 5. Blindsided Date. Bridesmaids. Paul Rudd has played lovable goofballs and complete jerkwads. He would have shown off both sides in Bridesmaids had director Paul Feig not made the difficult decision to cut the sequence. Kristen Wiig's Annie goes on a blind date with Rudd's character, who seems well-rounded and supportive.
You tried it. You had your own business. You probably will again.
That is until a kid accidentally runs over his finger while ice skating. Although only a minor injury, Rudd refuses to let it go.
I think if you put pressure on it, put a little pressure on it, it'll be fine.
Why don't you put pressure on your face, huh?
Having a beef with the kid is one thing, but when he throws a hissy fit at Annie, John Hamm's Ted suddenly feels a lot more tolerable. That said, Feig removed the scene because Annie already had 2 gentlemen callers. Regardless, seeing this crybaby get pummeled by the kid's father would have been so satisfying.
No.
Punch his finger.
Number 4. Bank Robbery. Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. For nearly a decade, people asked when Anchorman would get a sequel. Little did they know that a follow-up already existed. Kind of. The direct-to-video Wake Up Ron Burgundy was assembled using outtakes and scrapped subplots. While hit and miss, a few scenes match the theatrical film's brilliance. A highlight finds a terrorist group called the Alarm Clock robbing a bank in point-break fashion.
Just what point are you trying to make? Do you not like Lincoln?
Amy Poehler's teller isn't fazed by the gun pointed at her, focusing on the group's masks and what they symbolize. The teller is so frustrated by their statement, or lack thereof, that she refuses to give them all the money, but she delivers plenty of priceless insults.
I'm sorry, I didn't know what sex the werewolf was.
Apparently, Poehler's character left banking to become an entertainment news anchor in the real sequel.
Who are you wearing today? Oh, look, it's your own blood.
Number 3. Extended Motel Stay. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like many other John Hughes movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles had a plethora of deleted material. In 2022, Paramount finally released 75 minutes of unseen footage, including several humorous bits at the Brainwood Inn.
Now, yeah. I'm in here.
As Neil uncomfortably showers, Del obviously makes himself at home in the bathroom. This leads to a cleverly edited exchange between Del and the pizza delivery guy, the same person who robs them in the theatrical film. In the version we know and love, we assume that he's just a random crook. This deleted scene would have provided context, since Dale doesn't give the biggest tip.
Well, that's only a 5% tip.
You're very good with figures. You're gonna enjoy college.
Neil can barely bring himself to take a bite of the gross pizza, but Del helps himself, having to fart something fierce later that night.
I have got to fart something fierce.
Number 2. Brokeback Mountain Uncut. Knocked Up. Not many Brokeback Mountain jokes have aged well. This deleted knocked up scene is an exception, as it doesn't go for the obvious punchline. Speaking with Katherine Heigl's Allison, Jonah Hill's character has a hot take on the Oscar-winning romance. For a film about 2 gay men, there seems to be a lot more female nudity than male.
Brokeback Mountain.
It's a good movie.
Not to me, it's not.
What ensues is an uproarious rant about the unfiltered version that Ang Lee never made.
If we went to a baseball game, and right as the guy was about to hit the ball, they cut away, would you be happy?
Behind the crude language, it's also a surprisingly sweet bonding moment between Allison and Jonah, showing that Ben's friends have come to accept her as part of their lives.
Gyllenhaal's mouth is practically watering the whole movie. Shove something in there, Eve.
It's a shame that this wasn't included, as we would have loved to have watched it in the same theater as Jake Gyllenhaal.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Yoga Class, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Thankfully restored for the unrated version, Kristen Wiig was sorely missing in the OG cut.
I don't want you to break your neck, so just...
What's up?
Just relax.
My leg.
Hockey, Elf, complete with elf jockstraps. Sexy Massage, Borat. Because we could always use more naked Sacha Baron Cohen in our lives.
No sexual.
I'm not to sex, just hand it a leave.
Same thing.
Chunky Guacamole, Joyride. A detour that would have been worth taking.
I'm gonna mortar and pestle his ass into a chunky guacamole.
Everybody Hates Winnie the Pooh, Team America World Police. Weirdly foreshadowing a future South Park episode.
Everyone hates us.
Hey now, everyone hated Winnie the Pooh, too.
No, they didn't.
Well, I did.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Killers of the Flower Gloria, Mrs. Doubtfire. This comedy had more than a half hour of deleted footage, including a hysterical subplot involving Robin Williams' Peter and neighbor Gloria, played by Polly Holliday.
I was just cleaning up after those horrid animals.
You know, if this conversation involved you, we'd be looking more at you.
Possessing a small role in the finished film, Gloria was going to be Peter's rival, criticizing him as a husband and father.
Beautiful garden, dear. Oh, thank you very much. Backbiting bitch.
Under the innocent guise of Mrs. Doubtfire, Peter gives Gloria a gardening tip. Sprinkle the flowers with a touch of dog urine. It's no different than horse manure, right? Yes, it is, but by the time Gloria realizes the truth, her flowers are dead. Gloria is even more horrified to learn who Mrs. Doubtfire really is.
But my flowers are dead. My little babies. Oh.
Do I look like a goddamn gardener to you?
We get that the movie was already 2 hours, but this abandoned storyline demonstrates why revenge is a dish best served warm. Which scene do you think was too funny to cut? Let us know in the comments.
What kind of mother puts dog piss on her babies?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.